What is up, everyone, and welcome to another segment of the InnovationYGO podcast. And on tonight's episode, or today rather, we're going to be talking about the 5 ways to play Yu-Gi-Oh on a budget. So let's get into it. Without further ado, let's begin. So starting off by saying, I know a lot of players don't have a lot of money to play this game that we all love and hate called Yu-Gi-Oh, because to be frank, Yu-Gi-Oh has become pretty much a money game. When you have cards like Ash Blossom peaking to almost $100 a pop, cards like Struggling Battle that you pretty much need to play the meta heavily, reaching up to $80 or more, it's really hard to try to compete in this game. So for this video, I made it for all you players out there who want to play this game, don't have a lot of money like myself, and or who really just don't feel like Yu-Gi-Oh is worth the investment to just do well. Because to be frank, let's be honest guys, if you want to do well in Yu-Gi-Oh, you're gonna have to spend some money at some point. So starting off my list with my number 5 way to play Yu-Gi-Oh on a budget, you borrow cards. Making friends is key to life. Networking will get you so many places in life, and networking always makes the sky's the limit when it comes down to everything, and Yu-Gi-Oh is no exception for that. Borrowing cards, making a group of friends to play test with is huge. Reason being, you may have a good rogue deck idea. You might have a good meta deck that's halfway done. A great example of that, I have a halfway done Sky Striker deck. I just don't have the money cards for it. I need engages, I need 2 more Ash Blossoms if I wanted to play that deck competitively, and arguably speaking, I might even need a Trickstar engine to play a version of that deck that probably would do good at an event. So with that being said, since I'm dang on is not gonna pay a lot of money to get those cards, if I hit up one of my homies who may not be using those cards, I'm pretty sure I can borrow those cards. I mean, 2018, no one has a lot of money to spare on a card game. It's always good to have a good group of people to invest money into the card game, and you guys can just bounce cards and ideas off each other, and that way you can make your budget deck plays a lot better. Number 4, play test online heavily. Now, the reason why I always tell people to play test online heavily, unless you're just a Yu-Gi-Oh genius, hashtag Patrick Hoban, I think he even playtested online a lot too back in his prime. Playtesting online will save people a lot of money. The reason being, back in the day, we didn't have amazing sites like YGO Pro and Dueling Book to playtest online consistently. We all had to rely on a lot of crappy versions of YGO Pro. It wasn't even called YGO Pro back then. I believe it was called Kaiba Corporation something. I don't know. You old school Yu-Gi-Oh players can let me know about what that was in the comment section down below. But with that being said, a lot of you newer players, 2018, you 20 to 21 year olds, just do not realize how good you have it. Playing testing online not only motivates you to do well in the meta because you guys know the meta months in advance by playtesting stuff out of the OCG, you guys know what deck to build and know what cards to get for their deck prior to picking up stuff. Because back when I was younger, we had just to pick up stuff that we liked, try it out, and play stuff through trial and error. Also, if we just thought the cards or the deck was going to be good, we'll just net deck somebody and go from there, because their experience will lead us a long way. I mean, there's many different ways you guys can save money with the Yu-Gi-Oh, as you guys will see in this video, but playtesting online will definitely save you guys a lot of money moving forward with the game we all love to hate. Number 3, study the meta heavily. Emphasis on the heavily. Without knowledge, without the concept of how the game plays, you would not succeed in this game, at least as a budget player. You may think, oh, I spent $50 on 3 starter decks and a few staples and I'm good. Wrong. Without studying the meta, guys, you don't know what to counter, you won't know what side deck cards you need, and to be frank, you will fall back into the category of spending a lot of money that you don't need on stuff that you don't really want to use moving forward. I've seen a lot of people over the years pick up cards, trying them out, and thinking it's going to be good for the meta, and guess what? It is not that good for the meta. The card that they picked up is crap. So it kind of coincides with playtesting online to save money, But study the meta goes outside of the TCG, guys. A lot of us players, we like to stay within a TCG because it's within our comfort zone. With the internet nowadays, I highly recommend a lot of players, if you guys do not do it already, to go on websites like Yugioh Organization. It's a great tool you guys can use and a great website you guys can go on to study the Japanese metagame and a little bit of the European and the TCG metagame, but their focus mainly seems to be the Japanese metagame. They post consistent tournaments from Japan and China and Taiwan every week, usually on Mondays or early Tuesdays. So all that knowledge gathered, it'll help you make better deck choices moving forward and also help you guys save a lot of money. So if you guys want to save money, studying the meta heavily for the OCG and the TCG can just put you years ahead of the opponent and everyone else on the dueling field, but also can save your pocket a lot of money. Number 2, do not trade, invest here and there. Now, probably gonna get a lot of hate for this part of the video because a lot of you guys are probably saying, how are you gonna make a budget deck video, Chris? Or how are you gonna make a video for playing Yu-Gi-Oh on a budget, but you're saying do not trade? Well, I have an answer for you guys. I have a big answer for you. It is, to my knowledge, from trading in Yu-Gi-Oh in the 2018 era, that it freaking sucks. Yu-Gi-Oh sucks when it comes to trading in 2018. Reason being, the knowledge is out there for everyone. People love to try to come up off the opponent or their friends or people at their locals for $5. Trading has been so cutthroat recently, guys, way more than it used to be back in the day. For example, I've literally watched trades. People go trading for an hour, a bunch of cards on the table, like a bunch of money or drugs if you're into that kind of stuff, and people will literally have pretty much binder for binder and break the trade because of a $5 difference. I don't know what is it with Yu-Gi-Oh players and is trying to always get maximum profit to squeeze the juice out of the player that they're trying to rip off, because all trading has become in Yu-Gi-Oh is just a big rip-off game to see who can rip off somebody else, and as the cool kids say nowadays, plus off of someone who they don't know. So what I do personally, I don't trade anymore. And it's a theory I got from a buddy of mine who used to play Yu-Gi-Oh back in the day. He never traded. He just bought his cards outright because he worked his little job. He kept his cards in his binder, and if he did trade, it was very, very rare, and only with people who he knew was not going to give him a headache, i.e. friends and people who he knew personally. But with randoms, he'd just leave his stuff in his binder because no one wants to sit 2 hours or 10 minutes rather and waste their time trying to negotiate with someone about card values just to have that person not only break the trade, but also have someone else jump in your trade and say, hey, that's a ripoff. Because at the end of the day, of course, no one wants to get ripped off, and I can respect that. But I've always had a theory that if both parties are happy with the trade, then there's nothing wrong with it. Like, I really don't mind doing even value. And heck, I even don't mind letting people rip me off a little bit. But when it comes down to just people just hot butting your trade, that gets really annoying and just makes it a really frustrating situation for everyone. And the last thing I want to talk about for playing Yu-Gi-Oh on a budget in 2018 at least, have at least $100, guys. Let's be real. We're all men here, some women of course. You can't be super duper broke playing Yu-Gi-Oh. If you don't have at least a spare $100 to play this game competitively at least, don't even play. Stack your money up, get a better job, get a job, or if you just want to play for fun, of course you can play with your friends with whatever cards you have and buy a structure that can do that. But this video is dedicated to all the competitive players out there who want to play competitively but either cannot justify the price of the game or just don't have the money to play the price of the game, but they have a little bit of money laying around. You guys have to have at least $100. There are tons of Yu-Gi tubers like myself, like Simo, and everyone else who do budget videos like Team APS. I gotta shout out my homie Paul, who make budget deck videos for decks $100 or less. Capital G also makes videos for that as well. And yeah, man, you guys can always watch those videos and get some good ideas of decent decks to play for under $100 and move on from there. What I always recommend people to do, if you see one of those budget deck videos, find a deck you like, play test online, And if it coincides with the price and the price is right, build it. I mean, we don't make these videos for fun. We really do like helping people. So with that being said, man, you have to have a little bit of money to play Yu-Gi-Oh! You may even be able to squeeze out $50 during some formats just to get by and play decks like Chain Burn, or you might have those rare formats where it usually happens like every 2 years where we get a good structure deck to play. A great example of that is the Dinosaur structure deck, which is still a really good deck to play, and it did really well in the European WCQ. Another deck you can play on a super duper budget is Paleozoic, which has been doing good in the YCS scene, and it's pretty much all commons. So you guys definitely can play this game on a budget, but you need at least have $50 to $100 to do so. So as a recap, guys, for this video, because this video is a little bit longer than what I thought it was going to be, you guys have to have at least $100 to play this game, at least $50 to $100. Don't trade, just invest here and there, pretty much meaning when you get new cars, just hold on to them, because usually, one thing I forgot to mention about that, I found myself doing this a lot. I would trade my stuff, right? And then I wind up needing it later because I had a deck idea or a deck strategy, or the card that will go up in value because the card is very popular because it became a new tech. A great example of that was Forbidden Lands back in the day. I got rid of my lances and then winded up needing them again, so I winded up buying them and or trading for them again. So now I just decided just to keep all my cards, or if I don't want them anymore, I'm just going to sell and move forward. Study the meta heavily, because that's pretty much common sense right there. Play test online to save money, and borrow cards from your friends if you have a big group to borrow from. So with all that being said, man, post your thoughts and opinions about this video in the comment section down below. Let's try to get today's video up to 200 likes. That'd be awesome. And what do you guys think about playing Yu-Gi-Oh! In 2018 on a budget? Is it feasible, and is it viable? So once again, this is InnovationYGO, bringing you guys another Yu-Gi-Oh! Podcast. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'm signing out. Peace and stay innovative. Deuces.